I think for me, it's time for me to have a sense of belonging now. I didn't have one. I was this woman who is fighting for people's rights, for women living with HIV, for whoever that is living with HIV. But with EFF, I'm very deeply touched because they made means to come to me and listen to me with my sad story. This is the right time. I think this is the right time, and this is the right platform for us to be heard.
Revolutionary greetings to the Commander-in-Chief and the President of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema, the officials of the EFF, commissars, fighters, ground forces, voters of the EFF, and the society at large. My name is Omphile Maotwe, and I'm the Treasurer-General of the EFF. We come to you live at 12 o'clock midday in August 2020, the month that is known as the Women's Month. In this month, we look at the struggle of women. We know that in the past, we used to have women who took up the struggle to fight for the brutal and the murderous apartheid regime. And the struggle to date continues because we still see women who are still living in pain and suffering due to various number of issues. Now today, we are joined here by Zandile, who is going to share with us the tragic that happened in her life. Zandile is from KwaZulu-Natal, and she is one of those who were sterilized by government of the day without her knowledge, without her consent, without her approval. We will hear the story live from her. Zandile, welcome.
My name is Zandile Mkhize. I'm from KZN. I grew up there. I'm a young woman who was sterilized at the age of 19.
So you were sterilized at the age of 19. How old are you now? Do you mind telling us?
32 years old now.
32?
Yes.
So how did you know that you were sterilized? What happened? Can you give us the background?
Okay. It started when I was going to consult with the doctor as I was 36 weeks, almost overdue. Then I went to consult with the doctor. The minute I got into the room, at that time, if you are HIV positive, the card that you have will have a barcode, which if a doctor opens up and you can see that, okay, you're HIV positive. Then the card, I sat down and with the doctor and opened my card, and he saw that I'm HIV positive. He asked me how many weeks I have, and I told him. And he started, there was a lady that he was with in the room. At that time, he started telling this lady as if I wasn't there.
Okay.
He was angry, I'm so fed up with these women. They keep on having children, and he was writing something down. They keep on having children, and illustrating how angry he is. And by that time, I'm sitting there, and he just asked me, do you want to be sterilized? For me, it was like, sterilization? I didn't know. I said yes. Because he didn't even explain what the sterilization is. Yeah. And after that conversation, I could see that even if I said no, he wouldn't, because he's fed up with me.
Yeah, he's already made up his mind.
In his mind that I'm going to be sterilized. Then he booked me for a date on the 24th of July. And he gave me the card, and I went out to continue with my session for the day. And after that consultation, I got labor pains on the 23rd before the C-section was going to be on the 24th. And
so let's take it step by step.
Okay.
You were 19 years old.
Yes.
And you were HIV positive.
Yes.
And you were 36 weeks pregnant. Mm-hmm. So you went for your normal checkups, mm-hmm. normal routine. And there's the doctor. Was it the first time you are seeing this doctor, or it was your normal doctor that you see?
It was a normal doctor that we see every week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did he only realize that time that your card had a label that said HIV positive? Even why was your card marked HIV positive anyway?
I don't know. Maybe it was their procedure at the time.
Okay.
Because there was a barcode for all of us, that they used.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he sees this, he gets agitated, and he starts asking you. You are 19 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any parent with you, or you were alone?
No, I was alone at the time.
Okay. And then, so take us through now the day before the C-section.
Okay. On that day, I had labor pains around 1 o'clock at night. My mother took me to the hospital. When I got there, I think when I even got there, like they told me, my mother, to leave me alone so I can walk on my own. And they chased her out. And they said, I must wait. While I was waiting and my water broke, and there was nurse were like cursing, why? As if you know when your water comes, exactly. You can't control that. After that, then another nurse came and took me to the bed to check me how far the baby is or some sort. And when the nurse checked me, she said, I'm ready to deliver naturally. And she took my card and just, started, I don't know what she was doing or whatever, but she was preparing me to to deliver normally.
Yeah.
As she was doing that and I was ready to just do everything, a doctor came. It was a black doctor.
A different one?
A doctor, because the nurse was assisting me.
A different one from the one
No,
you
yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Doctor came and read my card first. Okay, he saw that I was booked for a C-section. He said, no, stop what you're doing. So I told the lady, this lady must go to labor to the theater. And the lady prepare for the theater. Oh, and the lady then started cleaning me up. I was ready to deliver at the time. He went back, to the back and he came up with 2 or 3 forms. My mother wasn't there. Yeah. He asked me.
And you're in pain at the time? I
was in labor pain, like the extensive one. And he told me, can you please sign here? When am I signing? I didn't even know. I signed.
So he didn't explain what you're signing?
No. Please, can you sign the forms? I signed, I think there were 2 or 3 forms, I don't remember, but more than one. I signed the forms, they prepared me for a second, then I went to the theater.
To the theater?
Yes.
And in the theater?
In the theater, I was struggling to breathe in the theater. I had a C-section, and after that, one of the doctors, she was white, if I remember. She wasn't, after, when you go to the theater, they wait for you, wait outside to just, yeah. And I was waiting there and my feet were not moving. Then they called this doctor and she came and read the card and she was furious. Why are you sterilizing a young woman in the age of 19?
Oh, shucks. So the doctor picked up that you were being sterilized?
Yeah, I was already being sterilized. I was trying to move my feet.
And your feet were numb?
Were numb. So that's why they called her. Then she read my card and said, oh God, why? Why? And she was still near me until she kept on asking, please move your feet. And finally they moved. And in that instant, I could see that this doctor knows that what they've done is wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong, 100%.
From the reaction.
The reaction that she had. Yeah.
So, and then, so your feet started to walk a bit,
mm-hmm.
and
I was moved to the ward. And after 3 days, I went home.
Where was the baby?
Oh, they gave me the baby after a day. Yeah, I think in the morning. And
so you gave birth?
I gave birth by C-section.
And so you lay in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You are having this conversation now. You are reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor was saying I'm being sterilized. What was running into your mind at the time?
At that time, I didn't think they were doing something wrong. I felt like I was okay. I was under pressure because in that sense it was like they're doing the right thing for me. But when I got home, my mother told me that no, you were not that you were violated, but that what they did was wrong to you.
We are now at Dr. Zenda's practice in Sandton. We came here after we've had a couple of interviews with women who have been violated in the past. So Doc, we've been having, as you know, this is Women's Month.
Yes.
And we've been having a couple of complaints from women who came to us to complain about the violations that the government has done on them. Some of them, they complain that they've been sterilized. Some, they've been, their tubes have been cut, their wombs removed, and all those things. So can you perhaps take us through what is the sterilization and how does it come about? How does the doctor say, now we think that you need to be sterilized?
Right. So sterilization, or what we call tubal ligation, is one of the methods of family planning or contraception, if I may say. It is an irreversible method. Generally, this is in discussion with the woman to, usually it's somebody who has completed their family, they no longer want to have more children. That is actually the most, valid reason for ever doing a sterilization. There are other special cases, but in every single scenario, what is important is that there is a consent that is signed. The woman must understand and know what it means and what they are signing for.
Yeah. So these women, doc, they seem to have been very young when they were sterilized.
Sure.
Some of them knowing, some of them not knowing. And some of them, they only get to know that they have been sterilized or their wombs have been removed at the later stage when they are trying to conceive and have kids and all that.
Sure.
So do you think there has been any violation to the fact that they didn't know, they didn't give the consent, they didn't approve of such operations?
Right. In fact, one of the biggest things that we always say in the health sector is the importance of capturing data or record and keeping that, because when you go through their records, we should be able to find a signed consent. There is, whatever the reason may have been for the sterilization, it must be on paper. And minors in particular, there is no way that even a minor would sign by themselves. You need a guardian with that. So what is important is, what are the records saying? Is the proof that this was either done erroneously or incorrectly, or even did they sign? Did they even understand what they were signing for? That is quite important. So in terms of a violation, it definitely is a violation when somebody has not signed and or they don't have a good understanding of what they are doing. When we counsel for sterilization, usually, especially before 35 years of age, it is the last method. We'd rather offer other methods that are more reversible, that are more on a short-term basis, so that if somebody changes their mind that, no, actually, I think I do want to have more children, they've still got that option. We always discourage women, unless there is an underlying medical condition that puts their lives at risk, cardiac issues, for example. We would then sometimes, at a very young age, we would discourage them from having children. But even then, we would still rather use something like a long-acting reversible rather than a more permanent thing like a sterilization.
So take us through what happened now after that. I do know that there's a report from the Commission for Gender Equality.
Yes.
And how did your story end up being at the CGE?
I was consulted by the lady from His Lifestyle Rights Initiative. It's a Tembiso. She started explaining to me the sterilization and how my rights were violated.
So sterilization, you mean they removed
the womb, and she told me ukuthi umusterilizwe akusho ukuthi because thina abantu abamnyama we believe ukuthi umusterilizwe ubopha inzalo usangaphindi uhlehlise. But when we started doing our work with HRI, doing the research, we found out when we got our card ukuthi they did the tubal ligation, which means they cut and remove everything, yabo basusa isibeletho, so you'll never have children again. So I found out that mina nami kwenze kanjalo. The time sasithola ini ama cards ethu sesifuna ukwenza ukuqhubeka nokucwaningo lwenziwe.
And how has your life been, Zandile, since that discovery?
It has impacted me greatly. It's the reminder of that day I live it in my house. My child is a reminder. Not that I don't love my baby, she's cute. Anyway, but seeing her, it reminds me of the violation. Her birthday reminds me that I was violated. Bankip isbelet. Her birthday inkumbuza ukuthi how Zandile. Oh, awusophinde ube nabantwana. Okay. The cut emzimbeni wami, constant reminder. You know, it's like kubona they cut a nail ezophinda ibuyele kusasa, but it's never gonna come back. And I was lucky to have someone who supported me, but some other ladies don't have that choice, like
that support.
That support. I can speak to my mother, and you know, but that doesn't change in abayenza kumina.
The violation.
The violation engasophinde fixeke noma kuthiwa ngenzani.
So you say sterilization is irreversible?
By and large, it's irreversible. I mean, there've been, you know, special cases where, you know, there is a recanalization or reconnecting of the tubes, but it can be a very taxing operation. Not a lot of surgeons are you know, keen on doing that kind of surgery, and there is no guarantee that it'll be a success, even if you know it has been done. There's no proof or guarantee that the woman will still be able to then have children. They could even be at a risk of having an ectopic pregnancy, because the tube is a very delicate part of the reproductive system, and if it's damaged, it also depends on how the sterilization was done. Sometimes we put clips, which is a little bit better because we don't cut out pieces, but sometimes we cut out pieces to make sure, because remember, when you sterilize, when somebody gets to a point where they decide on sterilization, the aim is for them to not fall pregnant. We don't want a chance of them falling pregnant, because if somebody says, I want a sterilization, land up pregnant, that's also like, what did you guys do?
Exactly.
You know, so it's important to understand that the main reason we sterilize is for somebody who has completed the family, or if it is somebody younger, there are underlying conditions that put the woman herself at risk should she fall pregnant. And over and above that, it is documented appropriately. She's counseled, she understands what she's doing and what the repercussions of that procedure are.
Because when this report came about, I'm sure that there were a number of things that were done. You were consulted, you were interviewed, they did some research, How has been the response from government?
When we started with this project, we consulted with the government, we did media statements, and I remember there was a day when I had an interview on the radio with Dr. Pillay, Jorgen Pillay. He was representing the Department of Health at the time. I told my story, he apologized. And my expectation, his apology meant they are going to do something about it. They are going to consult me and tell me, you know, and say something and say, we're going to compensate you.
Yeah,
how would you like us to support you and other women? Because this is not all about me. You know, I was talking to all other women. I was expecting him to just do something about it, but he didn't anything. I only received that apology from the radio, and it ended there. And after that, after the research, and we consulted one of the, Mr. Zandile Mkhize was still in KZN. He said, what we're saying is a tip of an iceberg, you know, which means we find like small women. He wanted research.
So he wants research.
He wants proof. He wants proof that women violate isibhedlela
So he wants proof from who?
From us. But we the one some
that correlated.
Yeah. I-proof kanjani, because vele mina into ofuna ukuyenza ukuthi ungiskene and see that bangikhipha isibeletho or bangikhatha amathuba.
And there's your card written that you were sterilized.
And ku department yakhe.
And ku department yakhe. And now we see the report from CGE being issued.
Yes.
In February this year. With recommendations attached to it.
Yes.
Has there been any action on those recommendations by the department?
No, there hasn't any. We haven't received any public statement from Bonn, which means they had resources and time to put out on theatre, but they don't have resources and time to respond to our own issues. Yeah. So yeah.
They've got money to go and do research. They've got money to take you to theatre. They've got money to do a procedure on you to remove your womb. And all that is written down.
Yes.
And you know the hospital that this violation happened.
Yes.
And they could just easily go back to the hospital to get trace of everything else, and they didn't.
No, they didn't. Because we manage.
So Zandile, you came to EFF. You are looking for help. What do you want? How would you like the EFF to help you?
Bengathanda EFF to put our issue to solve this problem, because we've been trying to to get the Department of Health to this pendule. I thought the ECG report was going to make them make a move, but as now I'm happy that issue yethu isilalelwa abantu abaseparliament. At least now sekhona abantu abaphezulu who can just solve this problem. If we can just nisize legally ngokwezomthetho, because they've been telling us that our cases have prescribed, but our violation will never prescribe, will never go away. So you can't tell me that my case has prescribed, but the violation is forever.
It's forever.
You know.
Yeah.
Find ways to sort it out. It might be compensation, it might be psychosocial support, because every time I talk about this before I sleep, I have to cry.
You are 30?
I'm 32.
You are 32 years old.
Yes.
Your future has been doomed. You had your own desire as a young girl. You wanted to live a normal life, a life that was given to you by God. And someone came and disrupted your life.
Yeah.
And how are you? How are you coping?
By numbing it down, by pretending it's not there. But every time I talk about it, it comes up and describes everything. Okay. Yeah, that's how it, yeah.
That's fine. Okay. We've heard you, Zandile. We will take up your issue. As you said, you wish for us who are public representatives to take the matter up in various institutions. We will follow up on your issue, and we will see to it that you receive justice. Clearly you have been violated. Your rights have been violated. Your future has been decided by other people other than yourself. And your story is painful. But there is hope. We will fight. The fight is on, so get up for a fight. And when we're fighting, we'll be holding you by the hand.
Okay.
You've come to the right organization that looks after black people. So we will take up Zandile's issue, because we honestly feel that she has been violated. And we will make sure that we fight with Zandile, but not only for her, even for the women that comes after her. The struggle continues. We're no longer fighting physical fights. We're no longer ducking from guns and bullets. We are being harassed, and the pain, the suffering brought to us by a black government. But we are not scared. We will fight until Zandile and all other women receive justice. I thank you.
Violation and it makes me mad when we try as women to fight for our rights and they say our cases has prescribed. Kanjani, because the violation I prescribe is for a lifetime. And one of the experiences now is when was Fazan, I'm not talking on my behalf. Experience Gishwat try no meganjan wina madam. No we you celebrate and you reminded because I was violated. Each year you get reminded. Each time you look at the scar, it reminds you. It's very sad for laba abanye futhi abangazange babe nabantwana, because if they see a child, they say, wow, I could have helped a child. And another thing, you woke up, ungena esibhedlela as umuntu esifazane, uzobeletha umntwana wakho. But uphuma usenyumba. Because someone, one, who takes a decision on our behalf as black HIV positive women, which we're not entitled to have children because we're black. I've never heard a case of a white woman who was sterilized. In what we're asking for as women to the EFF, we've been fighting as women for the past 12 years. And the government, the Department of Health, sending us from pillar to post, asking for researchers. And we did the researches with limited funding. But till today, we laid a complaint in the CGE. The CGE launched a report. Till now, they gave the Department of Health 3 months to respond. They haven't. The Department of Health are serious. I feel, and I feel for other women, they feel the same way too. It's serious. For them, section so values over right. Paraskaza be right. Mentally? No, we're not. Every time I think about this issue, I'm like, it's like all we asking from the EFF to help us to fight, because we've been fighting to push this issue forward. Some women were with in this issue, to this cause, since Sakala, years ago, more than 12 years ago, sathola abanye and sisanda ukuthola abanye manje, which means what have been happening 12 years ago isenzeka namanje. The Department of Health ayisinakile. Dr. Maotwe, he's been health minister. Paragazasho lutho. Mr. Mkhize, I'm from KZN. When I KZN, sakhuluma naye. Wathi ufuna research. Samnika. Wenzeni? He was in KZN. Now he's the national. National. Besicela EFF isize to fight. We really need your fight. We must fight to end the medicalized, gender-based violence against HIV-positive women.